Ruger LCP Max versus Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0 Carry Comp. A concealed carry comparison. We're back out here at the beautiful Banner shooting range for another exciting video in our Bodyguard 2.0 Performance Center Carry Comp video series. Today, the Carry Comp is going to go head-to-head against the Ruger LCP Max, which is another micro-compact, we'll say pocketable, double-stack magazine-fed pistol and 380 ACP. Let's do 2 magazines through these firearms, put some holes in paper, then we'll get to the graphics portion where we break down the similarities, the details, and differences between these firearms. I'll start today's video with our Carry Comp. I'm going to use the 12-round magazine, loaded to 12. I think I'm going to shoot at the top left target with this firearm here. Okay, we had one. My first shot a little high at about 11 o'clock on the target, though. Looks like the rest of them a little better, not quite centered, but at least better placed on our target. For our LCP Max, we're going to shoot 10-round magazines. There are some higher capacity magazines available, but I only have the 10-round magazines. First magazine we'll shoot will be the Pinky Extension magazine. Here we go, right-hand target. Okay, my first shot was halfway decent. My next 9 shots, quite a bit low. We actually donated at least 1 hit to the target beneath it somehow. That's all me, not the firearm. For our newer viewers and those unfamiliar with these pistols, we're going to go over the specifics and numbers on these firearms now. The Ruger LCP Max is a micro-compact double-stack magazine-fed pistol chambered in 380 ACP. It is 5.17 inches long, 4.12 inches high, 0.924 inches wide, and weighs in at 10.6 ounces unloaded. This pistol has a 2.8-inch alloy steel barrel with a tritium night sight for the front sight and an anti-glare U-notch sight for the rear sight. The sights are replaceable. The LCP Max has an alloy steel slide and barrel. It has Ruger's glass-filled nylon frame. This pistol is the same footprint as the LCP2 before it. It has raised cocking ears on the slide to try to make it easier to articulate the slide. The sights are replaceable and use the Bodyguard pattern of sights, which I find interesting. It does have a reversible magazine release. It comes with 1 10-round magazine, though there are 12-round magazines also available. The LCP Max has a anti-glare U-notch rear sight. The front sight is a green with a white ring tritium night sight. As I said, these sights are replaceable. The LCP Max is an internal hammer-fired pistol that uses Ruger's secure action trigger system. Off my gauge, it comes in at approximately 5 pounds for the trigger pull. You can also see the Glock-style trigger shoe safety on the trigger. The Bodyguard 2 Performance Center Carry Comp is also a micro-compact double-stack magazine-fed pistol chambered in 380 ACP. It is 5.85 inches long, 4 inches high, 0.88 inches wide, and weighs in at 11.8 ounces unloaded. This pistol has a 3.1-inch stainless steel barrel, and it comes with a tritium front sight with an anti-glare square notch rear sight. These sights are replaceable. The Carry Comp has a stainless steel slide and barrel with a polymer frame. The slide and barrel have a Armor Night finish. This firearm has a 3.1-inch barrel compared to the 2 3/4-inch barrel of the original Bodyguard. It has the carry comp, which features a power port to help reduce recoil. There are some different sights and serrations on this firearm compared to the original Bodyguard 2, which you can see in our original video on this firearm. It comes with one 10-round and one 12-round magazine and is approximately $100 more expensive compared to the original Bodyguard 2. Here you can see the square notch anti-glare rear sight and Tritium Ameriglow front sight from the Bodyguard 2 carry comp. Again, these sights are replaceable. The Bodyguard 2.0 is a striker-fired pistol. The pistol has a flat face trigger. Off my gauge, the trigger pull comes in around 3 pounds, 1 ounce. You can also see in this pistol Smith & Wesson's take on the trigger safety. As the name implies, the Bodyguard 2 carry comp has a compensator at the end of the slide. You can also see here what Smith & Wesson refers to as the power port, that is at the end of the barrel. Let's do a 10-round magazine now through our carry comp at our same target. And what I'll do is mix in, 3 or 4 sets of double taps in the middle. Here we go. Okay. From back here, I want to say all the hits are on target, but of course we'll have to revert to target cam later to confirm that. Let's try to do that same sequence. I wasn't paying attention to the counts with the LCP Max here, but we're going to mix in, 3 or 4 sets of double taps with this one as well. Here we go. Okay, well, at least we put more hits finally on the target with our LCP Max. It's time we dive into the conclusion to today's video, where we're going to break down the pluses and minuses of these firearms, at least from my point of view. Both the Bodyguard 2.0 carry comp and the LCP Max are excellent micro-compact double-stack magazine-fed pistols chambered in .380 ACP that many people would say are in the pocket carry class. As a pop quiz for today's video, guess which pocket the Bodyguard 2 is in versus the LCP Max. Now let's ask this a few more times. We'll try to trick you up here. Hold on a minute. And what about now? What pocket is each firearm in? Okay, what pocket is each firearm in? Okay, one last time. What pocket is each firearm in? Ah, fooled you. Actually, no, I didn't. I actually do have, if you guessed that the LCP Max is currently in my right-hand pocket, you guessed correct. And if you guessed that the Bodyguard 2 carry comp was currently in my left-hand pocket, you guessed correct. However, it wasn't always that case. For the first few times I asked you that question, they were reversed, and they only switched places in my pocket on that last spin. It's amazing how those Wonder Woman spins works, especially when you're not Wonder Woman. I do have pocket holsters in my pockets, don't worry. As you can see, both firearms actually pocket carry pretty well. I'm not wearing skinny jeans, but I'm not wearing anything close to what I would consider baggy jeans. I think these would be called relaxed fit, where I think American jeans these days have a little bit of spandex in them anyway, or elastic, whatever it is that makes them a little stretchy. Anyway, as you can see, both these firearms carry very well in a pocket for those that are going to pocket carry them. Though, personally, when I carry one of these firearms, nowadays it's going to be my Bodyguard 2.0, and I actually carry that in an inside waistband holster, not a pocket. Why? Well, because I find it cumbersome and slow on the draw to go into my pocket to dive down. Typically, my pockets aren't exactly the most relaxed fit pockets. the firearm sits a little low in my pocket where I have to bend down a little bit slightly to get it. Altogether, what that really means is that drawing from my waist, I find to be much more convenient, as well as, we'll say, speedier. If Speedy Gonzalez was a holster for me, it would be at the waist, not in my pocket. Though if I am going to pocket carry, either one and both of these firearms pocket carry very well. We'll start the non-pocket carry discussion today with the LCP Max. Many people would consider the LCP Max the first double stack, what we'll call high capacity pocket carry 380 that's out there. And as we saw a moment ago, it is of a size that does pocket carry well, though I think there is some trade-offs that get it there. Unlike previous versions, the LCP Max does have nice sights that are replaceable and adjustable to a certain degree. They're easy to see, they're easy to pick up, though you still have this short sight radius combined with a very short, snappy pistol that's going to make it very difficult for many people to be on target beyond bad breath range, shall we say. Though having a capacity of 10 or 12 plus 1, you have some rounds in your favor to overcome, we'll say, an accuracy deficiency that many people will have. In my experience, this firearm is very reliable. If I was going to knock one thing on it besides it being a short, snappy pistol, it's that. And I've said this in other videos on firearms that use the same secure action trigger is, I'm really not a fan of the Ruger secure action trigger. Really the only firearm I have where I would say, okay, it's acceptable is on my LCP 2 and 22 long rifle. The other firearms that I have that feature that trigger, I just don't like it. We'll just get to the short of it. I just don't like it. But there are plenty of people that do agree with that trigger that are going to shoot it well, and they'll shoot groups much better than I did in today's video. Now, one of the reasons that my groups in today's video weren't, we'll say, up to par for many people is, well, the honest answer is, since getting my Bodyguard 2 at the beginning of last year, whenever that came out, and putting thousands and thousands of rounds through that original Bodyguard 2, the only time I pretty much shoot this LCP Max at this point is for videos like today where we're comparing it to something else. It's not a firearm that I regularly practice with anymore, and a lot of that comes down to it's demanding to shoot in terms of the felt recoil. I find it to be a little hard on the hands, i.e. it makes my hands ache a little bit after putting multiple magazines through it. And altogether, it's just, for me personally, an unpleasant pistol to shoot that I don't enjoy practicing with. Moving now to our Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0 carry comp. If you saw our original video last year on the Bodyguard 2 versus the LCP Max, pretty much all of the advantages that the Bodyguard 2 has over the LCP Max, of course, the carry comp is also going to have, with the added benefit that, yes, so far in my experience shooting this carry comp now, I think we have compared at least a dozen different carry ammos, along with shot a few different range ammos. While all those videos haven't released yet, in all of them, my takeaway would be that I do notice a difference with the power port and the carry compensator, diminishing the felt recoil slightly on this firearm. And I think if we look at this short clip that I've prepared, comparing the carry comp versus the LCP Max, you can even see that, at least in my opinion, there's less muzzle rise when firing this pistol compared to the LCP Max. Let's look at that now. Now, I've prepared a few graphics to help make this even easier to see, which we'll cycle through those here. And as you can see in the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2 carry comp versus LCP Max colorized graphic, the maximum point of muzzle rise for the Bodyguard 2 in that still is a few degrees less than on our LCP Max. And where I noticed that, besides, say, in the still images, when shooting that footage, in terms of as the shooter putting the rounds, the holes in paper, is it felt like I was quicker for my follow-up shots on those double tap with the Bodyguard 2 compared to the LCP Max. So the Bodyguard 2 carry comp, on one hand, the compensator and the power port does give it less felt recoil compared to the LCP Max in my experience. Though another factor, and this is probably a larger factor in the equation, which we mentioned in our original Bodyguard 2 versus LCP Max video, is with the lower bore axis. Get your hand closer to the bore on where you're firing. And in my opinion, that helps diminish the felt recoil and allows me to maintain a better hold of this firearm compared to the LCP Max. As I mentioned in our original Bodyguard video, and I'll mention it again in this one thing I noticed when shooting the Bodyguard 2 carry comp versus the LCP Max is after many of my shots with the LCP Max, I'm adjusting my grip because the firearm's bucking around in my hand. Whereas with the carry comp, I'll go more rounds without having to adjust my grip, especially when we don't have to contend with the sweaty palms effect. Now the sights, I would say, between the carry comp and the LCP Max, I'm going to call them a wash. Some people will prefer the squared off rear sight of the Bodyguard 2 carry comp. Some people are going to prefer that U-notch rear sight of the LCP Max. I do think the sight, the big front sight on that LCP Max, better fits the U-notch rear sight on that firearm compared to the sights on the original Bodyguard 2, which has that U-notch, very wide U-notch rear sight. I do think the sights on this carry comp, as I said in our Bodyguard 2 versus carry comp video, the sights on this firearm, the carry comp, are better, in my opinion, than what are the stock sights on the original Bodyguard 2. As far as articulating the slides on the firearm, I still think that the carry comp has a fairly demanding slide to articulate. It's a little easier due to the serration change compared to the original Bodyguard 2, though I would say the edge, as far as articulating the slide, goes to the LCP Max on that front. So a little easier to articulate the slide, though more demanding recoil, a little more demanding to articulate the slide, though less felt recoil. As far as accuracy goes, I shoot the Bodyguard 2 a little more accurately, especially in today's video than compared to the Ruger LCP Max, though I would say a lot of that comes down to practice. With more practice, if I was regularly practicing with the LCP Max, it would probably be a narrower gap in terms of the accuracy gap between these two pistols, where some people would say, well, the accuracy is a wash. Because I find it more pleasant, shall we say, to shoot the Bodyguard 2 carry comp compared to the LCP Max, I obviously practice with it a little more, and while I've only had this firearm for a week, in the coming weeks and months, it's going to see many, many, many more rounds through it than our LCP Max will, and as a result, our accuracy will only get better as time goes by. If you're curious how the LCP Max compares to the Bodyguard 2 carry comp velocity-wise, keep an eye out for our next edition of the Bodyguard 2 versus Bodyguard 2 carry comp velocity comparison series. In video 3, the LCP Max guest stars and plays third fiddle to those two, and we actually find out how the LCP Max, for at least a few different ammos, compares to those Bodyguard pistols. Well, anyway, that seems like the perfect spot to end today's video. If you enjoyed today's presentation, like it, share it with your friends and family. Those things are free, and they really help the channel greatly. If you'd like to help us make more of these videos in the future, or offset the ballistics, gel, and ammo costs, look into becoming a member. Fred and I really appreciate you getting this far. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a good day. When you try to pet a cord without biscuit ditties. What? What if I just want to pet a cord? What if I just want to pet a cord? Okay. Okay, I'll get you Fritos.